Hey guys, thanks for joining me for your Mako Wok Masterclass. I really hope you love this wok just as much as I do. And you know what? There are so many great recipes on my website that you can be using in your Mako wok, or you could check out this top 5 selection of mine and get cooking. Dragon chicken. Cool name, but what is it? So it's actually an Indo-Chinese dish, and by that I mean Indian Chinese, which is a specific type of restaurant cuisine in India. And so it's got a few Indian spices, but mainly it's all about the fried chicken and then the sticky stir-fry coating. I think it's gonna be good. Let's cook it and see. For the stir-fry sauce, you need ketchup, sriracha, soy sauce, Chinese black vinegar. You could also use white vinegar too, sugar, and ground black pepper. Mix all of that together, and that's your sauce. Now, one of the really key things for this recipe is the batter itself, because you need it to be crispy and crunchy, but also the right texture to kind of soak up all of that sauce at the end. So let's go with some plain flour, rice flour, baking powder, and some salt. Now mix that together, add in some Kashmiri chili powder, garlic, ginger, an egg white, soy sauce, and then mix, adding in about 100 mils of water as you're going to make a nice kind of medium thick batter. And now we are ready to fry some chicken, my friends. One of my favorite life activities. I've got some chicken thigh here. Now, the key to really great fried chicken is the temperature of the oil. All you need is a wooden spoon, so pop it in, you see the bubbles, you're ready to go. Fry your chicken in some hot oil until it's really lovely and golden and crispy and looking really yum. Try not to eat the chicken before you actually stir fry it. And then stir fry. So hot oil, some onion, some capsicum, cashews, dried red chilies. These guys provide a lot of heat, so leave them out if you want things a little bit milder. Add in your crispy fried chicken and cue coughing from the chilies. Now for the sauce. Some more chili and some spring onion. Toss it all together and you are done. Dragon chicken. It looks so good. It smells amazing. The chicken has just that right amount of stickiness. Let's get in here and have a taste. That is good. It's really good. So besides the practicalities of making a piece of beef stretch further, there is actually so much to love about this dish. The sweet sticky sauce that gets really intense and beefy, it just pairs so well with perfectly fluffy cooked Japanese rice, and the pickles and the egg, oh my goodness, it's just legit good. Now there's a fair amount of beef prep work we've got to do to get it just right, but first of all, let's rice. I'm using Japanese short grain rice here because I think it has a slightly sweet flavor that goes really well with this type of beef dish. For perfectly cooked Japanese rice, you want to rinse the rice grains just to remove that excess starch. Place the rice into the bowl of a rice cooker, add your water, and then steam until perfectly cooked. Now let's talk about the important part, the beef. So if you have a look here, this is our piece of Wagyu. It's a Wagyu rump steak. Wagyu has a really great flavor, which comes from all of that beautiful marbling through the steak. But what we want to do here is prep the beef in a way that we get the most out of it. So chill your steak down until it's soft frozen. That way you can slice it really thinly, but still keep those lovely, perfect slices intact. So if you have a look here, that is uber thin, 2 millimeters. That's exactly what you want. For the stir fry sauce, you want to add soy sauce, a little bit of dark soy sauce, some Japanese mirin, and some brown sugar. And then mix until that sugar just dissolves. Before you get stir frying, spoon out your warm fluffy rice into serving bowls because this part's going to happen really quickly. And now let's do the cooking. And it's not just about stir frying here, there's some technique to really build up the intensity of that sauce. Heat up your wok, add the oil, then add your onions, give them a bit of a stir fry. Now add the beef in and spread it all out in the pan so that you've got maximum amount of heat coming into contact with each of those little pieces. Toss the beef around, And then before it's all the way cooked through, so you still want to see a little bit pink here, now you want to add your sauce, pour it around the sides of the wok so it's heating up really quickly and bubbling and becoming thick and sticky straight away. So here's a little bit of technique that you don't want to miss, right? To make sure my beef doesn't overcook, what I like to do is pull the beef to the side of the pan so that all the heat is underneath that sauce and the sauce is getting all thick and sticky and rich and intense. Now you can mix everything together and serve. Spoon your beef over the rice and then add your bits here. You've got egg, pickled ginger, spring onion, and there you go, my friends, my Japanese Wagyu gyudon. I mean, it's a simple dish, but deceptively delicious. Let's get in here and try it. I mean, the beef and the sauce is so intense. It's the perfect partner for that beautiful Japanese rice. And the whole bowl feels luxurious and big and comforting, but it's not that expensive. Yum. Such a good way to eat Wagyu.
So I'm going to get to the noodle part a little bit later on. First of all, I want to marinate my chicken. I'm using chicken thighs because they're better. They're just juicier. The point is though that you need to slice it really thin so it absorbs the marinade quickly and stir fries really well. For the marinade, you want to add soy sauce, Shaoxing cooking wine, and some sugar. Give that a mix and just set it aside until you're cooking a little bit later on. For the stir fry sauce, we've got oyster sauce, soy sauce, dark soy sauce. Now that's going to give you a really nice color, Shaoxing cooking wine, and some sesame oil. Chinese egg noodles. We're at the really crucial part of the recipe here. So your Chinese fresh egg noodles would typically look like this. They're usually found in the fridge aisle at your supermarket or at a Chinese grocer. The thing with them though is they get really sticky and clumpy really easily. So this is what you do. Cook the noodles in boiling water for just like 2 or 3 minutes until they're just tender. Do not overcook the noodles at this point. Drain them and rinse them until they're cool to the touch. Now pop them into a bowl and sprinkle with some sesame oil and really mix those noodles so that each strand is coated in the oil and it doesn't stick together. And one more trick here is to just cut the noodles a little bit with some scissors so they're easier to toss around in your wok. Now for the stir frying, get your wok really nice and hot. Some oil, add in your chicken. Yes, you want a lot of searing here. I want to hear sizzle, searing. I want that chicken to be bubbling away. And then toss that chicken around till it's just cooked. Now add in all the really fun bits. You've got ginger, garlic, dried chilies, Szechuan peppercorns. I'm leaving them whole because I like that kind of pop of flavor as I'm eating the noodles. Now toss everything together, get all those aromatics making friends in there. Now you can toss in your bok choy or any other kind of green vegetable that you like. Noodles go in and then drizzle that stir fry sauce like around the side of the pan. That way it's immediately starting to sizzle and bubble and get all caramelized. Mix all of that through until each strand of noodle is like beautifully glossy and amazing and tasty. Now toss through some spring onion and you are done. Look at those noodles. A little drizzle with some chili oil. And now here we are, stir-fried fresh Chinese egg noodles that actually are really good. Not sticky, not clumpy, and the flavor in this thing is incredible. I already know that because these are my favorite noodles. I'm gonna eat them for you anyway though. Slightly different flavor. You're like chomping through a Szechuan peppercorn. It's like bang, bang, like beautiful, like pepper flavor. Everything goes tingly and numbing. Then you've got like a bite of chili. You've got your chicken. The noodles are beautifully bouncy and chewy. Oh, it's really good. So I'm going to be using my Marion's Kitchen Singapore noodle kit for this recipe. Keep watching even if you can't get a hold of my kit because the technique for actually preparing your vermicelli noodles is usable for any rice noodle dish. So I'm going to grab my noodles out and everything else in the kit. So we've got curry powder, baby corn, Singapore noodle sauce. So here we are, rice vermicelli noodles. notoriously hard to cook because they're so easy to overcook. Look how thin they are. They're tiny, tiny little baby noodles. So they need a little bit of love and some treatment before you start stir frying them, but don't boil them. So the mistake is a lot of people boil these noodles and then they get soggy when you're stir frying them. So what you need to do is just soak them in some room temperature water. Now I know you're probably thinking, Marion, room temperature water is not going to soften these noodles. Well, come back in 10 minutes and I'll show you. So now for the Singapore noodles stir frying part. Hot wok, really important so that your ingredients don't stick. Then add the oil and then now stir fry your onion and the curry powder. Now, I know a lot of you can't get a hold of my products. I'm really sorry. It's hard to ship them all over the world because they're food products. But if you can't get a hold of my Singapore noodle kit, you can also use my Singapore noodle recipe from scratch on my website. So head there and check it out if you'd like to. And now I'm going to do like a protein combo here. I've got Chinese barbecue pork and prawns. Now my prawns have almost cooked through here, so I'm going to go in with my vegetables. I've got some baby corn, carrot, cabbage, and now to do the omelette part, I'm just going to simply move all the ingredients to the side. I might just add a little bit more oil here just so my egg can cook nicely. Now I have a really good wok here, which means I'm really confident with making something like an egg omelette in the wok just on the side of my stir fry, because my patina and that coating on the wok means that it's a really good non-stick surface. But if you're not so confident with your wok at home or you've got a smaller pan, you could make the omelette first in a separate pan. That's probably the cheats way of doing it or the easy way to do it. So just break that omelette up and mix it through. And now let's come back here and have a look at our noodles, because I promised you that your room temperature water would have softened up the noodles. And well, here we go. Just like magic, look at that. So if you had to put these into hot water, these noodles would be really soggy by now before I even get them into the pan. Now, just while my Asian mum is not looking, I'm gonna chop my noodles. Asian folklore says that's very bad luck, but anyway, I'm tempting my Asian ancestors to come after me. Just makes it a lot easier to handle noodles when they've just been shortened a little bit. So these softened noodles go straight into my pan. Sauce goes on top. So toss all of this together and those noodles will magically soften up and become just the right texture without clumping up and getting all sticky. Okay, some spring onion here. And just look at that. I mean, it's just noodle perfection right there. So now that you know, you know. You can be using this technique for any rice noodle stir-fry dish that you love to cook at home. And now you're going to get the perfect noodle texture every time. When you have the perfect noodle texture, it really is just joyful. It's a joyful thing. Oh, so good.
Great bolognese, even like a fast version of bolognese, still needs to be like thick and rich and unctuously beefy. And there are many reasons why I think a wok is actually the best place to do that kind of bolognese. The first being that you need a really hard and fast sear on your beef if you're going to do a quick version. So let's do that first. Start off in a hot wok, add some oil, add in your beef and really spread it around, but don't touch it, let it sear. Sprinkle over a little bit of salt, and once you kind of see those crusty edges around the side, then you can go in and flip that beef over. Now be smelling like a really cool like hamburger style smell here. That's how you know you've got your hard sear. Now you can add in your pork. Break up the pork in with the beef. The reason why I use beef and pork is that beef gives you the flavor that you want. The pork has a lot more fat. So that's going to give you a much more unctuous texture. Add in your onion and garlic, toss that around. Now add some tomato paste, and here's a little secret ingredient here, star anise. I always add it to beef dishes. It kind of enhances the meaty flavor. Add your tinned tomatoes. I like whole peeled. They like have a really beautiful bright intensity. Splash in a little bit of water there to get the remainder of the tomato out of the can and simmer for 10 minutes. To really intensify the flavor of our quick bolognese, you want to look at these 3 ingredients here. Miso paste, soy sauce, and you might not have guessed, but beef stock cubes. All 3 of these things are going to give you saltiness, but not just that, they're going to give you umami and savory characters as well. Simmer for another 5 minutes and then have a look. Thick, rich, beefy sauce. It just doesn't get better unless you add butter. Add the butter. Swirl it around, and now it's even better. To cook your pasta, you just need some salted boiling water. Tagliatelle is what I'm going with today, and then cook until al dente. Into a serving bowl, top that with your bolognese sauce, a little bit of parsley, and don't go away because what do we need here? We need cheese, of course, some olive oil, and there you go. So there we go, friends. This is my 15-minute bolognese. Let's get in here, shall we? You know what it is? It's the intensity. That real kind of like chunky beefiness is there. The tomato, the saltiness, all of that umami flavor. It's the kind of thing that literally tastes like it's been cooking forever, but we made it in 15 minutes. Yay for me and my Mako wok.